Margarita and Margarita Gracheva met at school but only started dating after college. They married and had 2 children. The couple lived in the city of Sepurkovsk, near Moscow, the capital of Russia. Their relationship came to a crisis when Margarita began working in the advertising department of the Sepurkov News daily newspaper. Despite having a degree in psychology, Dmitry could only find a job as a forklift driver. Feeling like a failure and envious of his wife's career, he started to drink. At home, he became cold, distant, possessive, jealous, and irritable. One day, in 2017, Dmitry misinterpreted an innocent text message to his wife from her friend. For Dmitry, it was proof that she was cheating him. Margarita argued that his behavior was crossing the line. She couldn't be happy with him anymore and that they should split up. Dmitry stated that they would never divorce, and if he ever discovered she was really cheating him, he would kill her. Later that year, Margarita filed divorce papers. Dmitry grew angry and physically attacked her. In addition to leaving marks on the body, he threatened her with a knife. She decided to file a police report, but the service provided did not help her at all. She was told that the incident had been logged and that someone would call her within 3 weeks. Margarita's reaction was something like, 3 weeks? In this time, Dmitry will kill me 3 times. The officer explained that women often lodge this type of complaint at the police station, and after some time, they withdraw it. This was the reason they had to wait. Margarita could not believe it. Weeks later, the case was closed for lack of evidence. On the morning of December 11th, 2017, after dropping their children at the nursery, Dmitry offered to drive his wife to work. She accepted, but it didn't take long for her to realize that he was taking her somewhere else, a forest. He parked the car, lifted her up from the seat, dragged her to a secluded spot, and pounced on her, beating her with his fists. He broke one of her fingers and held a knife to her throat, convinced she was seeing another man. She cried, screamed, and begged him not to hurt her. Dmitry ordered her to put her hands around a tree. Shaking and completely overwhelmed, she obeyed. He tied her hands, trapping her to the tree. He also spoke some words in her ears. He said something like, "You look very beautiful, but I want to see what you have underneath that outfit. If your bra is matching your panties, it means you are meeting someone, cheating on me, and today I will end your life." Fortunately, the pieces weren't matching, but that wasn't enough to quell Dmitry's unbridled fury. He kept yelling at her, threatening her, and couldn't calm down until at one point he took a hatchet from his backpack and started hitting both of his wife's hands. The axe was completely blunt, and he repeated the movement about 40 times, finally amputating both hands. She tried to run to save herself, but he furiously jumped on her back and knocked her down. He started chopping off one of her legs with the same axe. But at that moment, Margarita stopped moving, probably passed out due to the blood loss, and that's when he stopped. It seemed that Dmitry analyzed that horrible scene around him and went into despair. He took his wife's right hand, put it in a bag, took her to the hospital, and turned himself in to the police. Some staff from the hospital had to go back to the forest to look for the victim's left hand. The limb was preserved due to the low temperature at the time, but it was broken into 8 pieces. Hospital surgeons performed a miraculous and unique operation trying to reattach her hands. Unfortunately, the doctors were only able to save one of them. The left hand was reconstructed and reimplanted in an operation that lasted approximately 10 hours. Margarita said she woke up in the hospital after her first surgery, hoping the attack had just been a crazy and terrible dream, but then she realized it was all real. Today, she is able to make a few movements with her fingers. Her fellow journalists started a campaign to raise money to help her recovery. People from all over the world donated, and the campaign raised around $65,000, which was used to buy a bionic prosthesis to replace her right hand. This was implanted in Germany. After confessing to what he had done, Dmitry was held in prison awaiting trial. During questioning, he told the officers that his actions were stupid. The children stayed with their maternal grandmother, Irina, during Margarita's recovery. They didn't know at that stage what exactly happened. They believed that her mother had been an accident because Margarita couldn't explain the monstrosity that their father was capable of. However, this was a secret that she wouldn't be able to keep as the case ended up becoming public. Margarita didn't want any publicity, but she needed the media's help to ensure that Dmitry received a longer prison sentence. Her lawyer said that if she didn't appear on national television, he would be released from prison in 3 or 5 years. It was crucial that the court felt public pressure to toughen its verdict, so Margarita took the lawyer's advice. On November 15, 2018, Dmitry went to a trial on charges of kidnapping, death threats, and grievous bodily harm against Margarita. In the process, he pleaded guilty to all charges and was sentenced to 14 years in prison, having all his parental rights taken away. Irina said that even after Dmitry was arrested, he threatened Margarita, saying that he would return to finish the job. Margarita said that it would have been better if he had been sentenced to life imprisonment, as that was the only way she would have felt safe. This case happened in November 2017, but 9 months earlier, in February 2017, the Russian Congress had modified the country's penal code to eliminate some of the laws that classified and punished domestic violence. According to the new legislation, aggressions that cause superficial physical pain, such as bruises and scratches on women or children, are not considered a crime, but a family administrative failure. Assaults only become a criminal case if there is a recurrence, and this only happens if the victim can prove that she was assaulted more than once. This change removed an important protection for women and made them significantly more vulnerable to violence. This motivated a series of protests through the streets of Russia. According to estimates, more than 600 women are killed in their homes every month in the country. It means 20 a day. And the number of injured women is incalculable. Few Russian politicians make tackling domestic violence a priority. Oksana Pushkina is one such exception. She was elected in 2016 as a member of President Vladimir Putin's party, but her treatment of women has turned her into a rebel among conservatives. She campaigns for the annulment of these changes that took place at the beginning of 2017 and uses the public case of Margarita as an example. In particular, to precarious treatment she received for the police on the day the incident was logged. She is fighting for Russia to adopt specific legislation on domestic violence. There is a very popular Russian proverb that says, "If he hits you, then he loves you." This portrays the culture of some countries regarding domestic violence and demonstrates the total disregard as to the seriousness of the subject. Although scared for her life, Margarita could have suffered a much worse fate. In 2019, Margarita, at the age of 26, published a book entitled Happy Without Hands, where she recounts details of the attack she suffered and about her recovery. She also revealed that she has found a new love. In the summer of 2019, after the book being published, Margarita and the new love got married. The book was written with her mother, who is a journalist and was a fundamental part of her recovery. The purpose of the book is to help women who suffer domestic violence, to encourage them to leave their tyrannical husbands, and to understand that it's not normal to live with such a person. Good news is, in 2020, Margarita and her new partner had a son, and she says that she is living in one of the most wonderful phases of her entire life.